Hi, everybody. I'm Nina Rowan Heller, and I want to first thank you all for participating in Lady Leaders, and I want to also express gratitude. This is one of the groups that gives me the most pleasure to speak with. I want to start off with looking at the light side of everything, crisis and opportunity. Right now, we have this opportunity for a lot of change. And just like I would love to be there in person, the opportunity to be here in your living room, your office, on your phone, on your computer, to have an individual conversation between me and you may be actually really beneficial for right now. So what I'd like you guys to do is I'd like you to take a deep breath, and I want you to feel your body, and I want you to get really present, because in a few minutes we are going to cover a lot of territory about you. So first, you all have so much information that you've covered to support and enhance and enrich you during this time. I want to cover some things that are sort of the foundations in order to make all of that information really be able to grow, be nurtured, and develop to lead others and to change things. So first, I want to address what this period of time often is, and we're going to go through what the explanation of the grief cycle is, because that's what this is. I want you to understand also that the grief cycle is the cycle that we have with every single change. We have to actually grieve the change, grieve the loss of what we had, what we're working on changing. So the very first thing to understand, I'm going to be really brief about the cycles, but the first is denial or anger. Those go hand in hand. Denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. So we do this all the time on every kind of change that we want to implement in our life, where we actually go through the stages of, I don't really want to do this. Let's just say about exercise. I don't really want to take care of myself right now. I don't have time. I'm angry about it. I don't need to. I'll do it later. That's the denial. The bargaining is, I think if I get these things done, then I might have this opportunity later to do this. And so then at some point, there's also depression in there where you're like, I really don't even want to do this. Then we get to acceptance. The reason I bring this up first is I want everyone to understand the power of understanding where you are in this grief process, as well as everybody else. When you get to acceptance, when you can really say, I know what I see, I feel, I understand what's going on, it's easier to get to acceptance. And then once you get to acceptance, that's where you're able to make change. Because then we understand, okay, so this is what it is. So once you have that, you've got your framework for change. What's helpful is not just to understand for our own personal issues about where we are in grief, but as leaders. And I want all the women to understand how powerful this is. I am a huge believer that the energy, the power, the feeling, the positivity, the groundedness, the nurturing, the caring, the understanding, the love, all of that radiates from women. We have such a special, interesting brain. We have this brain that we can actually monitor and manage and feel others. And that allows us, I'm guessing, once upon a time where we needed to really protect our children or our offspring, that we needed to be able to figure out what we're doing, simultaneously taking care of others. That's what the world needs in general. And so if you understand the power that women have, I often tell clients that your power as a woman in the household can change everything. How you feel, how powerful you are, your positivity, your love, your nurturing is what will set the foundation for the rest of the household, the environment, the office, the people around you, your neighborhood. It changes everything. So we have this amazing power in order to change the world in such a different way, where we can understand and feel others. So another thing I want everyone to understand is crisis. We have been in crisis, and we are continuing to be in crisis because it's unpredictable. Okay, so one of the things that happens with crisis is the belief that as soon as we get out of the crisis, things will go back to the way they were before, or the timing, as soon as the crisis ends, that the timing will necessitate that now we are on to the next thing. We've gone through it. Crisis actually could be a brief or long crisis, but the response to it is a long, enduring change. So if we have this crisis to understand, regardless of how quickly things are changed and we've adjusted and we've shifted, we actually are still in the change. So the crisis may be over, but now we're in a different environment. And I think that's important to understand because, again, it gives you your understanding of where you can make change, implement, support, do the things that you need to do, and know the finish line didn't get moved, because that is what people often feel in this state, is that I just needed to run through this finish line. And then when you do that, you've put all your energy into that last burst and you actually still have a ways to go. So to understand this is part of this, that the crisis may change or be fixed or resolved, but we still have a lot of work that will come ahead. Physical power and emotional power. These two go hand in hand. Now, for those of you that have heard me speak or listen to my YouTube channel, you'll understand that I'm constantly talking about the balance between health and wellness and your physical, mental, spiritual power. During this time, I want every one of you to understand, if we know that there is a time period where life has changed and will be different for months, I want you to choose something that you are going to do to change you, to help you with your power. I would encourage you to pick a spiritual, a physical, and a mental. And the reason that you want to pick all three of these things, a little bit of something in each one of those, is that, again, that is where your power lies. You will have more energy, more ability, endurance, all of the tenacity that you need to get through things, and it will help with your mindset. So let's go to spiritual. Spiritual is whatever your spiritual practice is. It doesn't have to be a fundamental religious organized practice, but just some time where you are really spending time in gratitude, and that being grateful wherever, whoever, however you want to be, but really spending it in gratitude. There are many, many, many things to be grateful for. And if you can start off each day with this spiritual practice that has this enhanced gratitude to it, your world, your mindset, and everyone around you will change. Mental. Mental is this huge component that people talk about all the time, and I want you to understand that your mental health is connected to your emotions. And that may sound very simplistic, but the reality is that emotion and mental, there's a key to understanding how to work with these states. One, women, we are good at emotion. We understand it. We have connections with our girlfriends that we have on this emotional level. We are sharing feelings. We are talking about it more than men, again, because of the way our brains are. And in that state of emotion, there is a key in working with others when they're in emotion. And the key is to think about and feel, what age do you hear in the emotion? So, for example, emotional healing will happen if you can actually address the level of age that emotion is happening. Fear is this really powerful emotion that's happening right now in the world. And fear is not an action-oriented emotion. Fear is an inward emotion, and often whoever is closest to you, you may put in the position of power because of that fear. Who can take care of me? Who can help me? Fear, if you are speaking to someone else or even addressing your own fear, ask the question, what age do I hear? What age am I hearing in this fear? What age am I hearing in this emotion? It may sound almost flippant to think this way, but if I hear somebody who is, let's say, throwing a tantrum, is really upset about something and they're going on and on and on, I think in my head, okay, what age is that? Tantrums can be anywhere from 2 to like 12 before people are hitting adolescence. And then the adolescent tantrum is something completely different. But when you're really hearing the ratcheting themselves up and not being able to calm emotions, that's a child energy. So if you can speak to that emotion age level, it is so much more beneficial. And what I mean by that is emotion challenges cannot be resolved with logic. And that's whether or not it's somebody else's or ours. I think a couple years ago I spoke about overwhelm. I want you to understand that overwhelm is an emotional child energy. So overwhelm is that feeling of, I can't do anymore. I can't figure this out. I don't have enough. I don't have what I need. All of that. And those are emotions that are most likely anchored in child energy. So whether it's to help ourselves or someone else is to address it from that level. So it's not to go to logic and say, make a list and write everything down. Now put it in your schedule and make sure you address all those things. That's very logical. And if I spoke that way to a child that was overwhelmed and said, pull out a piece of paper, make a list, put everything in your calendar, now set alarms, just go through, check things off. That child is going to just be looking at me like, you're out of your mind. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't think you hear or see me. So instead you would validate the feeling, whether it's yours or someone else's. I hear you're really upset. Is there anything that I can do right now? Sometimes with these real raw emotions that deal with fear, it is actually just walking up and just being next to somebody, touching their arms, giving them a slight hug to let them know you are not alone. Because that feeling is, I'm scared, I'm alone, I don't have what it takes. So as soon as you put one more person with that, that goes away. That is the, thank you very much, you're here for me. It's not just me, I'm not alone. So those kinds of interventions, think of female mom energy, nurturing, loving, caring, listening, because that is emotional healing. And those emotions that can heal, you can only address any of the logic if you feel the emotions are in check and you're not having them all over the place and feeling really overwhelmed. So there's power in understanding where to address that emotion. The physical power, and this is one that I cannot stress enough about what this does in your world. And as women, when we are so busy and you've got, bless everyone's heart who has children at home that are in school while you are also trying your job, manage the household, become now an educator, and still the mom that you are to everybody else, and the wife and the spouse and everything else that you do at work. There's so many things to do. As soon as I say physical, if you hear in your head, I don't have time to do that, I don't have the energy to do that, I'm exhausted, this is not going to work for me, I need you to understand that the physical power that you have, that you create, will enhance everything. It is your superhero power. So for example, all of that cannot be fixed, managed, or addressed in your head. It can't. And if you are feeling tired and overwhelmed, I would suggest you pick one thing, something very, very simple. It may be 15 minutes or 10 minutes of yoga, tai chi, some kind of weights, exercise, walking. Any kind of walking is a great release in general. During this time, my 4-mile walk got all the way up to 7 miles because I wouldn't come back until I had the feeling that pressure, that anxiety, that angst, all of that fear, confusion had left my body. And this is the reason why physical is so very important. Your physical vessel is holding all of this emotion. And if you don't do something with it, that emotion makes it difficult to sleep. It makes our hormones off. It makes our energy off. We are in adrenal function, which means I'm running from a tiger, but you never actually did the running. You will have headaches, muscle aches, back tension, all kinds of problems. Your hair falls out. Everything is inside this body that says run, 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 adrenal function. And if you don't move, it is wreaking havoc on your body. I like to tell clients that when you're in adrenal function, when you're in that stress and you're not moving, you're not walking, breathing, exercising, talking, releasing, when you're not doing that, that is like having a bowling ball bounce around in your house that had complete momentum. And you would think, oh my God, a bowling ball rolling around in my house, dropped, roll down the stairs, crash into things. It just is calling what we call oxidative stress. And it keeps your power going down. So you have to move. If you are in an environment where you cannot walk on a daily basis or take stairs inside, 60 flights of stairs is a mile, if you just need to know that, to go up and down the stairs 60 times. Walk around the block, walk around your house. If you are going anywhere, if you're in office space, then use the stairwells, move around. If you're at home, Tai Chi is one of those great options to have, because Tai Chi gives you the opportunity to move your body, breathe, release, and you do a lot of that through breath and energy work. And so David Dorian Ross is always one of my favorites. And you all can connect, and I can give you some of those things at the end of this, or Rachel will have it available. I want to check my time because it is really hard for me to stick with a time frame, and I just realized I am out because I was given 15 minutes and I'm at 18. So what I want you all to do is, if you need anything, ask. The rest of the women around in this organization are your people. If you need anything, questions, answers, ask. Ask me. You can reach me at nina@rowanhealth.com. I also have other videos in the YouTube channel that are helpful, Nina Rowan Heller. If you need support and you feel like you look to the left and look to the right and say, I'm the only one in the house right now that is doing this, look to this group. Look to lady leaders. Look to the other women in your life. Look to your support. This is a wonderful time for change, and we can actually accomplish so much. I am super hopeful, because when we get to start all over, we get to start in a way that we say, wow, that never worked really well that way. Let's do it this way. And it gives us opportunity for the greatest change. So thank you very much. I'm Nina Rowan Heller. Take care.